perfect timing. Well, the viewers of the recording will catch the dream collage. So if you want to put in the chat an image from a dream, recent if you have one, it could be a childhood dream if that's what comes to mind. And then we'll read them out loud. You can read each other's and we'll see what dreams are in the room with us tonight. So we have women with toddlers, a baby, let's see, what's a recent one for me? I recently had a chase. Finding a piece of bark to make a spirit offering plate at ceremony. Spreadsheets and reports. Saving someone's life. A woman wearing a white transparent shirt with white flowers. Sex. With some good emoji expressions. all the many possible emojis that come with that dream. A child hiding under the covers, an unwanted man in the room. So already we have images of a really wide variety of qualities, and we can each notice our own response to these different dream images, what body sensations or emotions or ideas might come up in response to them. A group uprising in a city. Okay, so feel free to keep adding them in the chat if you want to. And we'll have that collage going and have those present with us as we go forward. So my first principle that I want to put forth for you is that dreams really matter. And you probably already have some sense of that if you signed up to come to this talk. But I'm going to talk to you about why I feel that dreams matter. All of our natural functions incline us toward health and wholeness. This is a foundational perspective to any type of holistic medicine. We really believe that the body has an innate intelligence and ability to heal. And dreaming is one of our natural functions. I see it as an ongoing communication with anything we might be aware of that we don't see with our normal waking consciousness. It can come to us through our dreams. Oops. And so just like our physical symptoms and our physical functions, our dreams reflect what's in balance and what's out of balance. So just like easy breathing reflects balance in our lungs, and a chronic cough might reflect imbalance in our lungs. In Chinese medicine symbolism, we might have a dream about a powerful tiger, and that might actually resonate with healthy lung function. We also might dream about a starving tiger, and we associate the tiger with the lungs and the large intestine, mostly the lungs though. And that might reflect what's out of balance too. Well, I'll give you so many more examples. And so I think that will take clearer form how our dreams reflect what's in and out of balance. But that's one of my foundational beliefs here. So our dreams do this with symbols like the tiger, with energies like we might experience the energy of movement in a dream, the energy of falling, or the energy of a color, or of an uprising in a city. Like these dream images we just heard tonight, each of them has a different energy to it. There's also direct experiences. If any of you have ever had a dream that felt like a real gift, like maybe seeing someone you loved who'd passed away, or a sense that someone came in the dream to soothe some kind of pain, or just a joyful experience in a dream, we get these direct experiences within them sometimes that don't really need interpretation. This is an example dream I wanted to share with you tonight so we can have one in mind together that I'll refer back to as we keep going. I'm going to read it out to you the way I like to hear dreams, which is in present tense. I'm late for a vet appointment for my dog. I need to take her because she has some kind of swelling in her leg. I get all ready to go, but then I can't find her. I go outside and start calling for her. She doesn't come, and I start to panic. My neighbor hears me calling and offers to help look for her. I feel a little bit relieved because he's a firefighter and knows how to handle an emergency. Then my dog comes trotting out from the front gate, wagging her tail. She was home the whole time. Her front leg looks even worse now, though, and I want to hurry to get her to the vet. So some of you who have a lot of experience with dreams might already have some ideas and projections about what's going on here. And it'd be fun to hear some of those as we go. So feel free to put things in the chat as we go. And as I can, I'll check in on that and see what contributions you might have. So continuing on with this dreams matter idea, and with that dream of the dog in mind, our dreams can give us clear signals about what serves our health and what doesn't. So sometimes this is very literal in a dream. This example dream doesn't have it, but I've heard many dreams of specific foods, like someone having a dream that they should be eating pears. Or I personally had a dream once about plucking golden pears from a tree and collecting a big basket of them. And in Chinese medicine, we know pears to be a food for the lungs and to have a lot of yin nourishment. And it was like a direct, hey, think about pears, right? In this dream with the little dog, one of my projections on this dream, this isn't my dream, would be that it's the rushing that lets the leg get even worse. The dreamer is late and looking around and getting into a panic. And during that time, the condition gets a little bit worse. So that's one thing I would be questioning, is what's happening when I rush around and run late. Dreams can give us nudges about what to investigate. So with this dream, there's swelling on the front leg. If this was someone I was seeing for an acupuncture session, I would ask, which leg and where exactly? And very often someone will have a sense of exactly where it is. We'll be talking about a dog, but they'll touch a part of their own arm or their own leg and say, it was right here. It was right here on this part of her arm. So then we'll investigate that the energy of that place is showing up in the dream for attention. So with acupuncture, we have specific points there. There's muscles there. When it's on the torso, we might check the organs that are underneath. Dreams can sometimes give us clear diagnoses. This dream doesn't have that, but there are many examples of people dreaming about their health conditions and learning in the dream what's going on with them. There's an amazing book called Dreams That Can Save Your Life, which has so many stories about people's dreams of diagnoses or dreams of tests that they should have run or things that they should ask their doctors. Dreams can give us direct healing experiences. This is one of my favorite things to come across in a dream, like a dream of hugging someone, right? And I might tell that dream at first just saying, and then my dad hugged me and it was really nice. And then the next thing in the dream happened. But if we slow that down and take a minute and really feel what that hug was like and see what happens in the body, I might feel, oh, my shoulders relax. I feel some tears rise to my eyes. There's some kind of relief and easing of tension from that. And one thing I like to do is return to those experiences and encourage people to return to those, like replay that hug moment in the dream, re-experience that relaxing. Because any of you who've had like an acupuncture or craniosacral or massage treatment, that's a real thing. When your shoulders drop and you sigh and some tears come and release, that's a direct experience of a positive effect on the body. That happened in this example dream when she says, I felt better because my neighbor knows how to handle an emergency. That sense of an ally coming in, that sense of somebody has my back, I'm not alone. I would ask this dreamer, what does that feel like? to know that you're not on your own anymore. And we can bring that, we can emphasize that. And sometimes we have precognition in our dreams. There's many stories of that as well. That same book, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, have examples of people dreaming of their surgeon before they meet them. And then they get the diagnosis and down the line, and then lo and behold, the person who's going to treat them is the one they dreamt of months before, right? So there's these very concrete as dreams ever get, ways that we can interpret. And then there's so many layers of mystery when it comes to dreaming too, because we are open to these other ways of knowing and sources of information in that time, that sleeping time. Dreams can show us where there's the most energy for healing and where it's most important that we step in to bring change. This is a very Chinese medicine kind of idea. Like, which of the 5 elements in my body is abundant? Where is there a lot of energy to work with? And where is that place that I can intervene? That if I just tweak this one thing or treat this one aspect of the body, everything else will fall into place. The whole wheel will start turning again. So in this dream with the little dog, there is a lot of fire element energy in there. I'm not going to go into the whole 5-element symbolism, although I do have a free PDF about that. We can share the link with everybody. But fire, dogs are associated with fire. There is a firefighter in this dream. There's a feeling of panic, which is associated with fire. So this dream is fire heavy as the elements go. And then where is it most important that we step in to bring change? What would change everything, in this dream? We can investigate that too and go through, how that might be showing up in the dreamer's life. And I feel like I should take a moment to emphasize right now that dream work is a process. I never just hear someone's dream and then tell them what it means. I would never even do anything like that, right? Like, I have to hear the dream and then we have dialogue. You as the dreamer are the one who knows what it means. And in the process of exploring it together, we discover all these things that I've been talking about. All right. I'm just going to pause for a second. If you have any questions and you want to put them in the chat or comments or things that are resonating, feel free to do that. Dr. Yang and I will keep an eye on that. I'm going to share these other dream images that came in. A scavenger hunt in a city, being lost in a city, and someone else also dreams about that. One of 3 women impregnated by the same man on the same night. And a question, what about nightmares? Very good question. I'm going to actually come to that because I also have a foundational belief that I learned from Jeremy Taylor, who's a many decades dream worker and author and teacher, that every single dream comes in the service of our health and wholeness. So, and more about the dogs and fire element. Yeah, I'll share a little more about the animals and the elements because that's just fun. And a lot of us dream of animals. But let's go forward and we'll get to the nightmare question right now. Okay, so I wrote here, could it be? So I'm proposing these things to you. You can consider them and see if they ring true for you. All dreams come in the service of health and wholeness. So the idea here is that every dream is coming to bring our attention or bring an experience for us that helps us move toward health and wholeness. That's what our mind, body, spirit beings are always moving towards. But we get blocked in certain ways, or we are wounded in certain ways, or we're under-resourced in certain ways, right? And so even though there's an innate movement in us toward that health and wholeness, we can run into all kinds of challenges along the way. But dreams are always showing us what's right at the edge, just past our awareness, to help us take that next movement towards health and wholeness. And this is something Jeremy Taylor witnessed over 40 or 50 years and thousands of dreams. And my experience affirms that too. All the dreams I've heard in the last 11 years, even and especially the nightmares and the scary dreams. Nightmares are very memorable. So, as scary as they are, if we can open up the possibility that they took that negative form in order to get our attention and in order to be memorable, and then look to them for, wow, what was so important for some part of me to say to the conscious waking part of me that I put it in this nightmare form. It's not always easy to do. I actually had my first nightmare in, I don't even know how long, maybe a few years, in the last week or so. And I was experienced that same old familiar, like, oh, I don't want to look at that one. I don't want to replay that. I don't want to do anything with it. But I trust the dreams enough by now to know that's like where I most want to go, actually, and to be grateful it came up and see what it's bringing to me. Nightmares, we don't have time to go into this a lot tonight, but it does take a special kind of care to work with nightmares, and especially when there's PTSD nightmares happening. But there's always been a gift for healing in every nightmare I've ever encountered. I'm going to speed through a little bit of this because I really want to do a sample dreamwork session with one of you. What I have here are a few notes on how I view health and healing. And I've been saying this a little bit, but I wanted to bring it up because it helps you understand the perspective I'm coming from and why dreams and Chinese medicine work so well together. And this one sums it up the most. When the resources are available and the blockages or stressors are cleared away, the body is capable of healing. So in Chinese medicine terms, that's when we tonify deficiency and when we clear stagnation, the body's innate ability to heal is freed up. Our symptoms are there to tell us what's off, what's working well, and what's not. And because with Chinese medicine, we're looking, we're usually feeling the pulse, looking at the tongue, listening to the symptoms. We want to know where's their stagnation, where's their flow, where's their excess, and where's their deficiency. Dreams really eloquently show us that. With landscapes, with houses, with cars, with bodies, we get these images that show us what's moving well, what's stuck, right? We can intervene and promote healing. This is a foundational assumption. I think most of you here are on board with that, but it's worth stating in a lot of situations. And dreams encourage truth seeing and truth speaking, which relieves the qi stagnation of emotional stress. This is becoming more and more important to me in my practice and in my work with people of all kinds. Qi stagnation is when energy doesn't flow freely in our bodies. And when we put a lid on our emotions or hold back the truth, we create stagnation. And dreams bring us face to face with the things that are right at the edge of our awareness and invite us to more closely see our truth. And that in and of itself is such a service. In a way, we could say it's like getting preventative treatment with acupuncture, right? Keeping energy moving to look at our dreams and keep that truth seeing, and truth speaking going. Let's see. I'm going to do a couple more quick things here, and then think about if you have a dream that you would like to share tonight in the workshop, because I'd love to do a sample dreamwork session. It'll be a shorter one. We'll leave time for Q&A. So if you have a dream that is maybe on the shorter side that you feel curious about and that you're okay having on the recording tonight, I'll ask in a couple minutes for a volunteer. So here are a couple things to know from projective dream work, which is the approach to dream work taught by Jeremy Taylor. Only the dreamer knows the true meanings of their dream. I can only have an imagined version of your dream. I can only guess what it's saying or bringing to experience based on my experience, my perspectives, my biases, everything, right? I might get something out of it that's really meaningful to me, but you're the only one who's going to know if that's meaningful to you. And you're going to know that by the feeling of the aha moment. You're going to know, oh, that's it. Jeremy liked to call this a function of memory, because it's as though we're thinking, oh yeah, that's what I meant, right? There's no such thing as a dream with only one meaning. So having other people or a dream worker to talk to about other possible interpretations is very valuable, because again, dreams are at the edge of what we're conscious of. And so when I share reflections, I use the projective dream work style of communication, which is to say to you, if this were my dream, and then I speak about the dream as though it were mine, and you decide if that resonates with you. So even if we're different in many ways, different age, different gender, different background in life, and I'm going to do my best to imagine my version of this dream and then offer my projections in first person. You can take it or leave it. This is good for both of us because it's a profound something extra is playing there. Okay. It opens my mind and grows my compassion to practice trying to hear your dream and imagine a version of it and bring up what it might mean if I could put myself in your shoes. Let's see. Working with a dream when you're on the treatment table is an amazing experience. The dreams move in our bodies. You can have a somatic experience of your own dream. Chinese medicine is a science of symbols. So dogs being associated with fire, forward movement being associated with wood and the liver. It's really a vast system of symbols. And so when those symbols come up in our dreams, in Chinese medicine, that right away directs our attention to types of diagnosis and types of treatment. This is why I say, like, they were made for each other. And the Chinese medicine classics have discussion of dreams in them. And I added, with awareness comes new relationship, because I think this is a very deep part of healing. When you're on the table and you are having a treatment and you have an aha moment about your coworker who you dreamt about, and oh, right, I am actually a little resentful of this thing that happened with them. Just that awareness and that new relationship to the resentment or whatever it is can shift the energy and support your healing. Okay, we made it. So who would like to share a dream? You can volunteer in the chat, or I'll stop my screen share so I can see all of you again. You can raise your hand. Deborah, great.
Hi.
So if you would share the dream in present tense so we can all hear it and imagine it along with you as though we're there.
Okay, so please remind me what present tense is.
Oh, like I'm walking down the hall as opposed to I was walking down a hall.
Okay.
Right? Like it's happening to us all right now.
Okay. So I'm at the massage business that I work with, High Desert Healthcare and Massage, and I am in the front room with the office manager. She's wearing a white shirt. It's transparent, kind of see-through, except there's some flowers on it that are covering different areas of her body. I have to go into the other room to wash my hands, and I go to the sink, but there's no faucet. So my eyes get very big, wondering where's the faucet to wash the hands? And she's cleaning up and getting rid of everything in the prep room and then cleaning up other areas, because the business actually is for sale in real life. But so,
okay.
Yeah.
Is that the end of the dream?
That's the end of it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What a great example dream for tonight. I'm so glad you brought this one in. So in the dream, is there the sense that the business is for sale?
Only at the end.
Okay. And is this person a waking life character? If this is
Yes.
my dream, okay. So I will let you decide how much you want to answer any of these questions, because this is going to be public and everything, but I'll go ahead and ask you all the questions that I would like to, to begin to flesh out my experience of my imagined version of this dream. And then we'll go from there, and feel free to decline to answer, or answer to the degree that feels right to you. Okay. So how do I, as the dreamer, feel? Is there any feeling tone to arriving at work, to coming in and being at work and seeing her there in the initial moments of the dream?
I am drawn to the shirt she's wearing, that it's so transparent and see-through.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first feeling, because she's not the person who would wear something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious what she would normally wear, and really in general, what she's like if there are any key qualities that she holds for me, that she embodies, or maybe any key dynamics in our relationship. If this is my dream, right, I'm fleshing out my experience of the dream.
She is more of a conservative dresser, and our relationship is, she's the office manager. I've worked there for probably about maybe 12, maybe even longer than, I'll say 13 years. It has a flow, our relationship has a flow to it. Yeah, but she's definitely, so so then so she's definitely the hub of the wheel at the office. Strong presence. But it's an interesting relationship, but it's a good relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm noticing that my dream brings me into contact with this interesting relationship, and that there's more transparency here than I would expect. So if this were my dream, sometimes you just have to close the door, set a new boundary, and start over. So let's get back in here. Okay, so I was noticing the transparency, that there's a new layer of transparency in a relationship where I don't expect that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's one way to read a dream, that every person, place, thing, experience in the dream is an aspect of myself. So this is the office manager part of myself, some other qualities that some of her qualities that I embody in myself. This is reflecting my relationship with those. Maybe qualities I've been aware of for about 12 or 13 years, or maybe qualities in me that started showing up then, that I might be in transition with, because the setting of this relationship is for sale. It's available to change hands. But I always think it's worth noting how someone or something is described to begin with. And one of the first things that I, as the dreamer, says about this person in this place is, I've been here for about 12 or 13 years. Like, that timing feels important. So I'd think back to myself 12 or 13 years ago, or at the age of 12 or 13. Some of that might be coming into play, coming into the room with the dream. But let's go forward from there. So then I want to go wash my hands, right? Is that the next moment in the dream?
Yes.
I want to go wash my hands and there's no faucet and my eyes get wide. So is this like, is there a bowl? Is there a sink basin?
There is, but there is no faucet.
And are there any handles?
No.
Okay. So what, if that happened in waking life, what would that mean? What would be going on if I walked in and there was no faucet and no handles?
It's not, I don't have a reference point. I've never seen a sink without a faucet and handles.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't know how to, it would be a new experience. I would have to figure out what to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if this were my dream, I might wonder if that's why the dream showed this to me, because it's something that would be totally unfamiliar. And
Mhm.
maybe that's something that I feel like I'm experiencing or approaching in my life, is something really unfamiliar that I don't have a reference for. And I'd have to figure out what to do, because it's just like, I don't even know what this would mean.
Mm.
It's very disorienting and unexpected. A sink with no faucet, but a sink is a faucet. How can this even be? It's like the dream chose a very odd image to give me that experience in my version.
Mhm.
But then, of course, there's the fact that this is water and washing, right? So we have the element of water. And what is the sink made of? Is there any view of the material of the sink?
Mhm. I believe it's stainless steel.
Okay. And is that what the sink looks like in waking life?
Yes.
Is the faucet and the handles also stainless steel?
Yes.
Okay. So normally I like to work on a dream for at least an hour. But I'm going to give you just a couple more quick projections on this one, and we'll see if they resonate. One is from the through the 5-element lens. White is the color we associate with the element of metal. And she's wearing a transparent white shirt. Transparency is also associated with the color of the element of metal, because metal is all about boundaries and protection, what's hidden and what's seen. So I have on her, I have a metal clothing and skin. All the boundaries are meant to be, I mean, not meant to be, but they are a form of metal energy because they protect us and conceal us, right? So this metal boundary is a little bit transparent. So I start to wonder about what feels good to me and what feels not so good to me about that. There's something appealing to me about more transparency, being able to see more clearly, being able to be more authentic,
Mhm.
especially in a relationship that has this interesting nature.
Mhm.
But there's also some more vulnerability
Mhm.
there. Then we go to the sink, and the metal element, literally the element that's made of metal, is missing. So I'm starting to feel like if I had, you in the treatment room and it also rang true with your pulse and your symptoms, I'd be really thinking about tonifying the metal element. That might be something that the body's looking for here. In the 5 elements, metal gives birth to water. Metal is sort of the we call it the mother. It's a mother-child relationship. And we had a lot of mothers and children and pregnancies in our group dream collage. So I'm looking for water to wash, to clean, to refresh, to let go of what may be the residues on my hands and be ready for what's next. But I don't have access to water, and it's because I'm missing metal. So I'd be looking into that in my life. And are you familiar with the 5 elements, Deborah?
A little bit, but I don't remember what metal represents.
Okay. So Metal is associated with the lungs and the large intestine and the skin and the emotion of grief and the ability to have clear discernment and good judgment. But it's also associated with judgmentalness. It can get overly sharp. When we talk about metal, we can picture a metal blade. It's also associated with the autumn season. So that falling blade that cuts away the leaves, that cuts away what no longer serves us in life, that marks the end of things like this business or my time in this place. It's a metal moment. It's the falling away season of any part of life. And so I mentioned pears earlier. Pears can tonify, there's acupressure points. So there's all kinds of ways in acupressure, which might work well as a massage therapist. That might be something cool to explore. Or foods or herbs, ways to think about tonifying metal, or even just connecting with metal in life. The radiance of sound and light is a metal thing. So beautiful music, sunset is a metal time. I might go and just take a moment with the sunset and breathe deep breaths and connect with my lungs in the sunset, as a practice.
Yeah.
One more thing I'm curious about on this dream, and then we'll bring it to a pause because to leave a little time for more discussion and Q&A. But I'm curious if the flowers are, if there's clear placement of those flowers on the shirt.
There is. The placement is on the more exposed areas, like there, and the text, it's a texture. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, I can see it, but I don't know how to describe it. It's just like a raised, like felt texture. And it's on the breasts and somewhere on the arms. I can't remember, but a couple places on the arms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I love the pun of the word felt. Yeah, if this were my dream, it's like, these are the areas that I really felt. And, over the breasts could be on the stomach channel. It's also over an area of nourishment. It's where we provide nourishment through the breasts. It's also a sensual area and typically a more private area. So that sense of transparency and vulnerability, like there's a little bit more of a boundary left, even though things are more transparent here. And then the arms, again, this would be something we could feel into more in a longer session, or certainly if we were in person. But if we could kind of find where those flowers were, it'd be interesting to see it, because this often happens in dreams if they're on acupuncture points, or tender spots. Dreams very often have body locations. I'll ask, where did the bee sting you? Or where was that splotch of paint? And it's like a very specific location, often in acupuncture point, because whether we know acupuncture or not, the points are really there and our bodies know where they are, right? So,
right.
Yeah, so I'm curious to hear from you. Did anything resonate? Is anything coming up for you in response?
The concept, yes, thank you, Leilani. The concept of transparency, and I mean, a lot of it, the metal, and there's some other things that just kind of, the like tonifying the metal, but then also the water and not having the faucet. I wrote it down somewhere and that really resonated. Can't remember where I put it, but something about the faucet and not having the faucet. Deficient in metal because there's no faucet. Yeah. But the transparency, like they haven't told the staff that they were selling it. But then
Oh,
they just finally told the staff about a month ago, maybe a little over a month. And, they have a potential buyer, but it's all just it's all in the gray area. It's very nebulous. It's not very clear. It's very muddy.
I see.
So in my
Hmm.
dream, I feel like she's transparent. She's telling me
Hmm.
we're closing and the
Uh-huh.
buyer's not going through is my message that I'm getting.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong. But the other is more personal aspects. If I put it into the aspect of she is a representation of myself, and then I come back to what places are more transparent that I'm feeling more comfortable with, or moving forward with things, and what places are covered up. So yeah, there was some other stuff I wrote down. Oh, dream. Yeah, I can't remember. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great though. That's a lot to take
Oh,
forward. Yeah.
the grief, the emotion, the grief,
Mm,
letting
yeah.
go. Yeah, moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah. And as you were speaking, I forgot to say out loud that cleaning is also a metal element activity.
Wow. Metal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that too. But yeah, so we can touch base after if you want with more kind of ideas about how to engage with that metal energy.
Okay.
So thank you so much for sharing a dream in this way and bringing it for everybody. We all have an imagined version of the dream. I'm curious, now that we're a little bit smaller group, it's easier to do this too. If you want to add in the chat anything that comes up for you with this dream, like a part that stands out to you or questions you might ask, go ahead and throw it in the chat and we can share it. So the dreamer has that to go on to. It's a beautiful thing about sharing a dream in a group is getting multiple perspectives. Okay, here's a couple of things. Not having a way to wash hands leaves me with a feeling of dirty. Did that show up anywhere?
No, it was more shock that there was no faucet.
Mm, yeah. And I really like the analogy of metal cutting away at the things that no longer serve us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's always that too in the dream, like something is missing and there's also a gift in the an element can show up both as very strong and very weak at the same time. It's an interesting dynamic that happens in our bodies. Like someone with a metal constitution might have an incredible love of singing and, you know, be prone to skin conditions at the same time. Like the metal element just makes a lot of noise in that body. And so maybe there's something about that discernment and cutting away and being able to let go that's also showing up. We have a couple more. In my dreaming, I feel the season of spring in the shirt with the flowers. I can feel a breeze on the shirt as well. It's beautiful. Right. Spring, the opposite of autumn. In my version, I feel upset about the missing faucet. I feel deprived of a way of cleansing that I use a lot, both for physical and energetic cleansing.
Mm.
And then the first commenter says, thank you. That's what I was trying to say. So yeah, and that one cool thing about this is that we all had our imagined version of the dream. And as we make our projections, we can really genuinely take it into consideration that I'm saying this in first person. You know, like this is if I spotted it, if I felt it, if I sensed it in the dream, it's probably true for me. And so that's one of the gifts of Deborah sharing her dream is as we imagine it and project on it, we get our own insights too. All right. So anything you want to say in closing, Deborah, about your dream?
No, but thank you so much. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you again for your generosity in sharing it.
Thank you, Deborah.
So I think it's okay if we go a few minutes over since we lost a few to our adventure. So let's do Q&A. Someone asked earlier about go ahead and put your questions in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and answer the one earlier about the dog and the fire element. So there's many ways to talk about these connections, but I'm going to give you a basic way to think about it. The 24-hour cycle of a day has 2-hour blocks throughout it that each goes with a different channel in the body. So 3 to 5 a.m. goes with the lungs. That's when the tides, the tides within us are moving. The tide is at its peak in the lung channel between 3 and 5 in the morning. Then it moves into the large intestine channel and into the stomach channel in these 2-hour increments around true midnight and true noon, which may or may not be the time on your clock, depending on your time zone and location on the planet, right? But it's based on the actual cycle of the planet and the sun. So there's also the Chinese zodiac and the seasons of the year, and the same 12-ness, the same cycling 12-ness is playing out with the animals. And if we map them together, my teacher, Heiner Fruhoff, taught us this in our cosmology, kind of orientation to the worldview of Chinese medicine, that you can map the animals in the same way. So the tiger actually maps to the same time as the lung, and then the rabbit to the large intestine. So we're in the year of the rabbit right now. The year of the rabbit is this one. The time of the rabbit is spring. The hours of the rabbit are 5 to 7 in the morning. And so the tiger and the rabbit can be associated with the metal element because they show up there on that wheel in the same place. But then we got to ask, well, does it really pan out? And to give you the short answer, yes. If you tease out what is the tiger, what is the rabbit, how do they resonate with metal, how do they resonate with the lungs and the large intestine, they actually give us another rich way of understanding these organs and these networks. And the way I understand that is that it's really a science of symbols that's talking about the nature of all things in the universe, how everything has contraction and expansion. And we can talk about this as water, wood, fire, metal, back to water. The 5 elements are a way of representing that expansion and contraction. Earth is in the middle. The animals also represent different moments on this expansion and contraction. And when we pick a spot and hone in, there's this whole cloud of symbolic associations that live together, that capture the same energies in their symbols. So the dog goes with the pericardium. And the pericardium is a fire organ that protects the heart and is associated with joy and intimate connection. Not necessarily romantic intimacy, but like a one-on-one, heart-to-heart connection. And both a joyful and loving quality, but also protection. The pericardium is what opens and closes for our hearts. And that is so true of our dogs too, right? They're so full of heart energy, pericardium energy, joy, love and affection, and fierce protectors, So that is how. That's why I said that in that dream, there's fire energy in that doggy. Any other questions before we close up tonight? We have some final info to give you, but any other questions? Okay. Oh, a dog dream the other night. Cool. Maybe that'll add a lens to look through.
That was so fascinating. Thank you, Leilani. And thank you, Deborah, for sharing with us too, and allowing us to share this with everybody as well. So yeah, it doesn't look like we have any other questions.
Okay.
But I'll keep looking.
One more here.
There we go.
Any thoughts for dream hygiene? Should we write down our dreams, rituals to support? Yeah, definitely. Writing them down is a very, very valuable practice. It's amazing how much that helps us remember them. Just keeping a dream journal, just having a dream journal by your bed, for a lot of people, that's what makes the difference in remembering dreams or not. And then write them down, because you will forget details of those dreams as time goes by. I think of myself as remembering my dreams so well, and I laugh like when I go back to a dream, even one that I've told someone else, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that part. There's this type of consciousness that we're in, and the dreams, they become like these threads, and they almost evaporate the more and more that we wake up. So if you can write them down right when you wake up, it's so valuable. You really get a lot out of that. And it sends a signal to your brain and to the dreams and to whatever part of us is weaving these dreams that you care, right? So there's a richness in the dream relationship that happens just by writing them down. And then the other quick idea I'll give you is finding a way to honor the dream that's remembered. It could be anything. It could be calling the friend that I dreamt about. It could be putting a little something on my nightstand just in honor of it. Like, this flower reminds me of the flower on that white shirt, and I'm going to have it on my nightstand. Or I'm going to make a big change in my life because this dream told me it's time to quit my job. It could be anything, but finding a way to say, I heard this dream and I care about it, and I'm going to honor it. And kind of, Tokopa Turner talks about weaving the bridge, weaving that living bridge between the dream world and the waking world, to offer a thread back. Yeah.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Leilani, for sharing your knowledge. And I really love the connection between the dreams and traditional Chinese medicine and 5 elements. That's like the coolest part of it, I feel like.
It's so cool.
Well, for me, obviously I'm biased. Right?
I agree. It's so cool though.
Yeah, it's really, I can see how this can be applied to treatments with your patients, and in the type of diagnosis of patterns that are going on with patients that can also lead you to certain treatment plans, protocols, herbs, supplement. Like, I can see all of the vision that you can get through a dream. So that's a really amazing tool for patients. So I'm excited for you to be able to bring that into the practice and be able to offer to patients as another way of deeper level healing. So I know you have some announcements you wanted to make too about some of your services.
I'll just share. Oh, I can't share screen because you disabled it, which is probably a good idea because all of our guests were sharing their screens. But I was just going to show you all the website and let you know, for those who are local, that I offer, actually, for those who aren't local, I do dream work virtually online, one-on-one sessions, usually 60 to 75 minutes. And then also for those who are in person, I do dream work with acupuncture and with craniosacral therapy. And that is a beautiful experience to be able to follow the dream through the body and get those releases there. And as you mentioned, Dr. Yang, I didn't really get into this, but there are ways that we can use that information to not only deepen the healing experience you're having on the table, but influence selection of acupuncture points and of herbal formulas. So we're offering $30 off at Revive Chi, both for virtual and in-person sessions. And Dr. Yang just put revivechi.com, Revive Chi spelled QI.com in the chat there. So if anyone would like to schedule a session, please do. I'd be so excited to do some dream work with you and discover together what it can offer you.
So there is online booking through here for Leilani, and also there's more information about you and also the dream work now that we've included that as part of the website. So if they want to learn more about dream work and craniosacral therapy, that's all under energy medicine. And then of course your bio. is under About Us. So, so that's all
If
there.
you want to read my bio, you can find it there.
Yeah, no, there's,
All right.
I mean, my introduction for you was way too short, but I wanted to make sure we left enough time for all of this, which I'm glad that we were able to get through.
Yes.
Sample dream analysis. So that was, yeah, the goal. So there's so much more about Leilani that you can learn about. And you can check out her bio and all the great things about her. So
All right.
thank you, Leilani. Thank you so much for sharing your gift. And it was very nice to meet everybody. And we really appreciate the time that you've taken out of your evening to join us here. Hopefully everybody's eaten dinner or they have dinner waiting for them. So yeah, was there anything, let me just check in the chat real quick. Was there anything else? It doesn't look like it. Seems like we've answered all the questions.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming. Thanks for jumping back in on our second round and hanging in here a few minutes over with us. I really appreciate you being here live. It's wonderful to get to do this with you. And thank you, Dr. Yang, for hosting and opening up the clinic to DreamWork.
Yes, thank you so much. I hope everyone has a lovely evening, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions about any of the services, anything TCM or DreamWork related. All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.